Welcome to Biggest Geekus. We are your hosts. I am Joe.
And I'm Randy.
This is episode 29 of our podcast, and the date is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021.
Dude.
Well,
yeah.
Mr. John Allen Large sent us another message that I didn't send you. So when we play them today, you
new one.
The first
Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna drop this whole news thing for a little bit. Joe and I need some positivity. So our first segment's going to translate to the positive material plane.
Right. I was kind of wondering what exactly you meant that as.
Get it?
Going to actually talk about the positive material plane.
No, we're going to show love, baby. It's going to be call-ins, and it's going to be talking about fun stuff.
All right. Good deal. Yes, because news can make us cranky.
Mm-hmm. Old cranky people. Yeah. And conservatives and Christians don't generally like news too much because, well, we're not popular these days. So,
not really.
And we get our
Which
feelings.
Is fine. Popularity is overrated.
Absolutely. I don't need it.
Popularity is overrated.
I have been.
There's some kind of irony in that statement that I can't quite grasp.
What is it? Popularity breeds contempt?
Well, no. Popularity is overrated.
Uh-huh.
You have to be overrated to be popular.
Well, kinda. I think yeah. Eventually it happens. You can't please everybody for the longest time. So, right. But anywho.
Was that a Freudian slip?
Gosh, I hope not. So I hope it's just a dumb slip. So.
All right. So we got some.
We'll call in action.
We were wondering. It was kind of like crickets out there for a little bit.
Yep.
Thought we were not getting our regular love dose from Jason.
I know, it's sad. I missed him.
Yeah, you probably didn't send him the $2.
No, it's still in the mail, I believe.
All right. Well, regardless of whether we paid him or not, he sent us some messages.
What I like about that dude.
And the new message playing format is instead of all in one blob, one at a time. 1 minute chunks. Hold on to your seats.
Gonna switch it where I can hear it, or this time, or you got to do something?
Yes, thank you,
dude.
You keep having to remind me of that.
It's okay. It's okay. That's what I'm here for, man. I got your back.
Let's see here.
So feel the positive love already, man. Talking about got us back. We're all good. Showing the love to Jason. Man, I'm feeling more positive by the moment. I think I'm transitioning to the positive material plane.
Transitioning.
All right.
Let's see. Sharing the screen, sharing the sound.
All right.
Hey guys, Jason here. Sorry I'm so behind in catching up on your podcast, although you may be at CabinCon now, so it might not matter. But I did have a couple comments. First, I'll mention you talked about Professor Dungeon Master, who has a great YouTube show, highly recommended. I'm actually a Patreon of his, but he talks about that roll d6 instead of death saves for the number of rounds it'll take. That's not original to him. That comes from ICRPG, from Runehammer, which of course the 5e hardcore mode that Professor DM pushes is also from Runehammer. So I just want to put credit where credit's due. Not that you didn't, just want to clarify that for folks listening. The other thing I want to comment is on leveling systems, class systems, that kind of thing.
Right. Professor Dungeon Master. I've seen a few of his videos.
Me too. I like them generally speaking. They're pretty
generally speaking. I think he likes 5th edition too much.
Now, Joe, it's all right. It ain't bad. Come on, son. I think what's funny was, Jason, we're not at CabinCon yet, but we will be. Second week in May, CabinCon-ness.
Yeah,
playing 5th edition the whole weekend for Joe.
Right. And we're not letting that stop us from having a Biggest Geekus episode.
Heck no. Hopefully we could do one every night. That would be cool.
Great. Well,
even a short one.
We can't. Yeah, it'd have to be.
Yeah, because we'll
probably
start about midnight, so we're not going to last too long. I'll be gone.
Right.
12:15, and that's the show.
Yeah.
We had fun. Bye.
Right. So the most recent one I think I saw from Professor Dungeon Master, he was um, um, going over Keep on the Borderlands and talking about the Goodman Games release. What was that called?
Hold on, I got it right here.
It wasn't Keep on the Borderlands. It was something else, but it had
it's their original adventures reincarnated into the Borderlands.
Into the Borderlands.
Right here, yo. I got them all, son.
Yeah.
They're good. Quality.
I plan on stocking up on those at some point.
You should, man. Old
school goodness. He reproduced, he made some additions to the map and reproduced them in a notebook. Yeah. And that looked pretty cool. I was a little jealous.
Yeah, dude's got some pretty good skills. And I was listening to the night in bed. My wife liked the way he talked, thought it was pretty good. So she kind of liked to listen. And that's kudos to Professor DM, because my wife is not interested generally in hearing anybody talk about gaming. She'll play. She play all night long, but she ain't interested in like talking about it.
Yeah, I think you have to do something interesting. We're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, eventually we'll do something. I think we will eventually do something interesting.
Eventually. Yeah. All right, let's go on to his next one.
So leveling and class systems. If you want to get away from the leveling class systems, you have to kind of look a little bit afar, but they're out there. 3 things come to mind. Basic role-playing by Chaosium, things like Call of Cthulhu, RuneQuest. You still kind of sort of have classes, but to level up, basically when you use skills, you roll to see if those skills advance, and then, so the skills you use can advance. That system is also used in Harnmaster, and Harnmaster is really effectively a classless game as well. So both those are kind of the same family, but they work pretty well as a classless, levelless game. Same thing with GURPS. GURPS, of course, you just get advancement points for your XP, and then you can use them to increase your skills or stats or whatever you're going to use them for. So GURPS would also fall into that pretty loose system. I haven't played Champions, you guys have, so you can answer the question on Champions, although I think they kind of have archetypes in there.
I've played Champions. I don't think you have.
No, and I'd like to push this to segment 2.5 because Jason and our buddy Patrick last week inspired me to add, going to be another 2 for tonight. We're going to talk about 2 different things. I really want to dig into this class level build point game thing. Right. But yeah, Jason, that's cool. You made some good points and definitely some fodder for thought. Champions, you played it. So is that a pure point build, Joe?
Yeah, they have something like archetypes, though I don't know if that's precisely the word they use in the book.
Right.
Right. But they have like package deals you can buy that give you sets of abilities. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, from Champions, an older edition.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know that we want to get away from.
Patrick mentioned that he kind of, Jeff and our buddy Jeff wanted to get, I know Jeff said it to me before months ago, he's kind of tired of the level system and class system. So I definitely want to talk about that. I have some, I won't call it insight, but to me personally, I feel like I've come to a new understand. I feel like it's a new understanding. Be glad to hear what others think about it when we get to that segment.
Right.
So Champions may be considered a class game. I don't know. I don't really know anything about Champions. The other one I'll mention is Barbarians of Lemuria. Barbarians of Lemuria, you don't have classes and you don't have levels. Again, like the others, you get points, and you can use those points to increase, advance yourself in your careers or, improve your abilities, things like that. So those are, in Barbarians of Lemuria, you have different careers, and then anything related to that career you're good at. So if you're a sailor, you'll be good at, navigating by the stars, tying knots, swabbing the deck, drinking people under the table, stuff like that, swearing. So that's kind of how careers work in Barbarians of Lemuria. But anyhow, I hope that helps, and I will talk to you soon.
You have skill in swearing? That's weird.
Well,
I'll fail that one.
No, I would not. I would probably pass. Maybe not with flying colors, but I would pass. Thanks, Jason. That's actually a game that's not the same as Beast and Barbarians. I think Beast and Barbarians is a Savage World setting, and I think Barbarians of Lemuria is its own little Conan style, or what did I heard Jason say one time? Was it more like
It's sword and sorcery?
It's sword and sorcery, but it was more modeled after a different book than Conan. But I think it's pretty close. I think it's all pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll call in to correct us if we screwed it up. That's what I like about Jason.
Yep.
He's a good spell check.
You could actually pay him the $2 and he won't tell us that we've screwed up.
You know, I'm feeling like I'm too cheap. So
considering you, not surprising.
True. Touche.
All right, so that's it from Jason, but we also have a few from John Allen Large.
All right.
At the Red Dice Diaries.
Sweet.
Hey there, guys. Thanks for getting in touch and telling me that my first call was sans sound. I'm not sure what's going on there. Then the latest Windows update has fucked up my computer good and proper. But I'm hoping this one will work a little bit better, or it might be Anchor misbehaving. Who knows? All I was saying in the original message was that I'm trying to catch up with a few of your episodes. I'm a little bit behind. And I suppose I could listen to them while I was working in the background, but I really like to actually be paying attention to your guys' episodes so I can take in what you're saying. And unfortunately, I've been that busy at work recently that I really haven't had a chance to do that. But I'm slowly catching up in the back catalogue. I'm listening through your episode with Glenn Hallstrom, Old Man Grognard, at the moment. And I was just saying that I think his "screw this, I'm going back to D&D" quote will make a great text or phone ringtone. And you'll probably be hearing some more from me as I slowly catch up. Keep up the good work, guys. Hopefully this one gets through, and I will catch you soon.
I am deeply offended at that F-bomb. I'm going to have to send a special note.
I'm telling you right now, nobody can cuss like a Brit. He cusses, and it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Just like our Scottish friend, Robert. Dude, it's just cool. I'm sorry. They do it. Cool. Their accents are awesome. I'm kind of jealous. But I am disappointed in John. Did you hear him? He said he had to work, and it was more important than Biggest Geekus. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Even though, I mean, it was kind of a slap in the face.
I know, a little bit.
It kind of sounded like a compliment.
It did kind of. But
he didn't want to, listen while he's working because he wanted to give us his full attention.
But he asked for overtime because he didn't really want to listen. That's what I was hearing.
Yeah.
You,
he sent a message completely devoid of sound. So I don't know if you couldn't really call that a message.
Probably a psychic message, and we're not as developed as he is.
Yeah, and I understand one of my laptop might be bricked because of the latest update. One of the latest updates.
That's what he was saying. That
he got his computer got.
Well, my best suggestion is to get rid of those PCs and go Macintosh, baby. Go Apple.
No.
Okay, suggestion.
I'd rather go Linux than Mac.
Oh yes, you want to be able to manipulate it yourself.
And I don't want to have to sell my soul to afford a freaking Mac.
Yeah, they are stupidly expensive. Thank goodness my work provides mine.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we have more from Mr. Allen or John or Large.
John.
Hey there, guys. It's John from the Red Dice Diaries here. Just finished listening to your episode where you're talking to Glenn Hallstrom about CR and predictability. And I've got to say, yeah, I pretty much agree, guys. I mean, I suppose my problem with sort of CR challenge ratings is that it always seems to assume that you'll be trying to make encounters that are balanced to be defeatable by the player characters. And I've never really gone for that, to be perfectly honest. I throw in a mix of different sort of difficulty level encounters in my games. The player characters will sometimes come across encounters that are an appropriate level for them. Sometimes they'll come across ones that are really piss easy and they can just like waltz through them. Other times they'll come across ones that are really too difficult for them to deal with. And it's up to them to use their player smarts to work out which is which.
That's gone by the way of the dodo.
What has?
Modern games. Having encounters of variable ability, a variable challenge, variable toughness, and the PCs are expected to figure it out.
The players are expected to figure it out.
The players. Yeah, PCs,
maybe
players.
Yeah.
There's either going to be cues that the DM is going to send or not. There's going to be look at the bones kind of situation, right?
Walked in a cave, holy crap, we're standing on bones. Yeah.
But they saw all the bones and still, insisted on doing their thing.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But someone I know insists on no real variance in encounters, all kind of like
super tough,
grit your teeth, may not make it, nothing really varying from that.
Who would do that? I wouldn't play with that guy if I were you. So anyway, but you know what? It's funny when I think about this. He talks about CR and the frustration when expecting a balance. I really encountered this in 3rd edition, and it wasn't till the end of 3rd, 3.5 Pathfinder, when I realized what I wanted. I wanted balance, relative balance between player characters, not perfect balance. Just I wanted everybody to feel like there's a niche for them to fill, right? And then I never really wanted monster balance because, even though Joe does have a very evil DM who likes to make combats deadly, if they're over the top, I don't necessarily not warn you. I mean, think about this past weekend. I gave you several free rounds when that demon broke free, come out of that idol, right? And you could have taken off whenever. And not that it was perfect. No, yeah, because those guys were running up the steps, had at least 2 rounds. My wife decided she wanted to stand and fight. That's a player issue. Well, but I made it pretty clear this thing was tough, and it ate the goblin, which I think was cool. But I mean, it was this worshiper, and it still didn't care, which was it wasn't really. I literally rolled, but I mean, the goblins had a 4 and 6 chance to get eaten rather than Debbie. But it was. I think sometimes, maybe not. Maybe I wasn't as clear. I thought I was being clear. This is bad news if you stay and fight. But it is Savage Worlds, so swinginess can change things. Yeah, but
I think you made it clear that it was tough. And we had the stairway clear,
right?
And we had a way clear for us to retreat with the people we were rescuing,
right?
Then it was fine to leave. I was only going to stay behind to make it safe for everybody else. Not permanently behind. I was just guarding the rear. Everybody else I was going to be the last one. But I think your wife wanted.
She wanted to beat the demon.
She wanted to beat it.
And it's understandable.
There's that. There's also, we're kind of trained to want to beat everything. Want to confront and overcome all challenges instead of pick and choose. I've really tried to get away from that in my play. Not everyone. Like when I'm playing Butch, he just wants to kick butt and take names. But when I'm particularly playing spellcasters, let's do this so that we don't have to confront the monster. Let's solve the thing with the least path of resistance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, I think CR is a nice. Honestly, the more I think about it, the 3rd edition CR, which we talked about, was kind of not very good at every level. It's probably better because I think it's good for players. Well, maybe it's dangerous if you're trying to build a game where you don't want to kill the characters. You want to build appropriate encounters all the time. That could be bad, but I don't really like those games. I like games where you kill characters. So.
Well, I think the issues with CR are kind of tied to the issues with leveled games. In a way.
Interesting. Oh, we should bring that up in the topic.
Yes.
Cool.
Primarily, I think that character level, CR, kind of encourage you to look at those at a particular kind of dynamic between the two.
That's part of a discussion I want to have in there too. Yeah. That's good to say. All right, cool.
All right.
And if they can't work out which is which, well, hopefully the party that follows them will have a better luck. To give an example of this, we had an encounter in a recent OSE session of mine where the player characters came across a roper in a cavern system, which they originally didn't spot because it was dormant and their ranger was very stealthy and didn't sort of wake it up. When the rest of the party clomped into the cave, the roper woke up, there's tentacles everywhere, it's chomping down on people. When they lost their friar, which is sort of Dolmenwood cleric variant, they were like, this is just too spicy for us. We need to GTFO as quickly as possible. And they exited stage left, with one of the player characters even going so far as to like hack his own foot off just so that he could be dragged away from this foul creature.
That sounds like a perfectly balanced encounter to me. I don't see a problem with that.
Ropers.
Love it, dude. They are so terrifying.
Right. And you can be double-digit level and still. It's a
Dude,
roper. We got to get out of here.
Couple of bad rolls, your fighters get screwed so quick. All that strength drain and crap.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty bossy. I thought it was pretty funny. It was like, well, if the first party gets killed and they don't pay attention, maybe the second party will know better, or something to that effect. I'm like, yeah, That's what I'm talking about.
You know what? I don't know if it's an evil streak on my part, but I was thinking if the roper, just plain old roper, isn't good enough, you have it hanging from the ceiling instead.
That's what I'm talking about. A stalactite roper or stalagmite, whichever one goes to the top. I don't know which one.
Right.
Need Jeffrey here. He could tell me.
If this is the same party that John is talking about, that I started listening. I listened to one of his actual plays briefly.
Smoke and Snow?
I can't remember the name of it, but in it, the fellows thought that they might be running into poison air, maybe gas or something. Yeah. And they decided to make urinated on bags for their faces.
That helps?
Well, ammonia is supposed to help, and that's found in urine. So,
yep. Oh, I see. And so ammonia would like catch with the particles of the poison, perhaps and claw onto it. Okay.
So everybody was carrying a urine-soaked bag on their head, which was quite hilarious.
That is hilarious.
And they were.
Good job, John. Well done.
They were, and of course there wasn't any.
Even better. Oh man, John is a man after my own heart, dude. That's sweet.
These fellows were just so. I was like, just get in that room and do stuff, because they were just super
nervous,
super careful. I mean, they were super careful.
Yeah, I've never been a very careful player. I'm more about make something happen. Yeah, let's make it happen, baby.
Get in there and do stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was funny when they were talking. I'm going to take a sack and cut some eye holes in it, pee on it, and put it on my head.
That so sounds like D&D players.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, that is not, the funny thing is, it's not that terribly shocking. It's hilarious, but it's not shocking.
I wonder how easily these fellows could be talked into cutting off an arm or a hand for Vecna.
Well, Joe, let's not throw too many stones, dude. A few years back, we did stuff like that.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
And I think they were absolutely right to do that, because if they'd have stayed there, that thing would have probably killed them. I mean, it was an encounter that was too heavy for them to do. But it was in a cave system where there's lots of different entrances and exits. There was some easy stuff, some hard stuff, and you sort of learn which is which as the game progresses. Anyway, I really enjoyed the episode, guys. Great to hear. Keep up the good work, and I will catch you soon.
Thank you, John. We always like hearing that. Absolutely.
You and Jason are really helpful bringing in those questions. And I thought it was cool. I like what he mentioned about a cave system. That got me thinking, that's actually appropriate to have. You got a big cave system. I remember the Keep on the Borderlands. If I remember correctly, there was a Medusa in that thing.
Holy crap.
Unless I'm forgetting something. Somebody out there can correct me. I need to look. I got it in front of me, but I'm not going to. I just like to, throw stuff and see what sticks.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I think your butt.
Talking my butt completely. My butt is talking right now. But I know there was an ogre. So first level characters against ogres back in, I don't know, AD&D or D&D proper, basic D&D. Dude, you're asking for a TPK.
Oh, yeah.
Or a couple dead fighters, if not the TPK.
Pretty close. And here, something that his comment made me think about. They'll learn after so many people dying what to do and what not to do. And that's combined depending on how many TPKs there are. Some characters will learn, and
Yes.
some players will learn.
Right.
So I know we had to talk about something similar, that if there were areas that were too tough and you had characters that died, we were like, well, okay, one, you're going to have corpses.
One, you're what?
For a time. You're going to have corpses.
Yep.
That people will see. Two, that location will get a reputation. You know, you guys are the third adventuring party that has gone out there, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of the other ones.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, to players' defenses, how many times have I said, well, we've sent some guys out trying to take care of what was going on. They never came back. I've said that before.
some
you guys
is one thing.
But you guys are like, well, I say some guys, a group of adventurers or whatever, and you guys usually are like, whatever.
They're NPCs.
You didn't send us.
You didn't send us. You sent
we're
some
not NPCs.
NPCs.
To speak in third edition language, I'm a fighter, not a warrior.
Yeah. Correct. So, but I tell you what, I think one thing that got us out of wanting to play that way was Pathfinder, or for the third edition and Pathfinder, because the amount of time investment in making and leveling characters made you really cringe about. I mean, we're going to die almost every time we play, and it takes me 2 hours to make a character.
Yeah.
That's a no-go. Who wants to do that?
Yeah. Understood.
So simple character generation. If you're going to have a
high mortality game,
if you're going to have a high mortality game, the system needs to have at least as a base rapid character generation and leveling, or advancement of some kind.
Yeah, and not just because players don't want to spend a lot of time, but if characters die, you want them to get back in the game pretty quick.
Right.
And Pathfinder third edition, no. Now the beauty of it was, now here I will argue this: once your character was made, you could play, and you didn't need to be. And the system's pretty simple in a lot of ways. Roll d20 and reach a target. And once your numbers are all on that page, it's not that hard. It's going to take you. And if you're like us, we're trying to comb through all the books like we used to do, even with the SRD, 6th level character, that's an hour to 2 hour job if you're trying to maximize it.
I suppose you could just erase the name and write a new name in or something like that, or put junior or the second.
We don't get that too often.
But it's that's kind of cheesy. I used to do it back in the day, but I mean, I'd rather make a new character just from scratch. All right, we got one more from John that Randy has not heard. So we're doing it live.
Hey there, guys. It's John here from the Red Dice Diaries, just listening to your Shorties episode 3. Although it tickles me that your Shorties episode are probably lengthier than my Longies episodes. But you're asking about Adventurer Conqueror King. And from what I recall, the sort of guy who was behind it has been sort of accused of being like a white nationalist, was involved in Gamergate, all the sort of usual stuff that seems to get people cancelled nowadays. How true it is, I honestly don't know. I did do a bit of a Google before leaving this message, but as with a lot of these things, finding actual like hard information or evidence is pretty difficult to come by, seemingly. There's just a lot of blog posts with people's opinions and sort of rants about it. But that's the vibe I got. Like I say, how true it is, honestly don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get back to listening to the episode, guys. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't care. Not that I don't care. You know, John's got his opinion, and that's great. What I don't care about is the accusation. It's just an accusation.
Yeah, if there's no verifiable proof, if they're just saying, I think this is true because I saw this, even though it's not real evidence, it's just an opinion. Like, you know, he hired that one guy who was supposedly, what do you call him, Nazi homosexual, whatever he was. They're all mad at him. Yeah, whatever. They're all mad at him about something. Like, dude, that don't mean nothing to me. I don't know that guy. Who cares? I mean, it's the Axe is something actually I'm kind of interested in. Honestly, it is.
Right. Me too. A lot of times you get guilt by association. You get guilt by, you say one false word and you're now a white nationalist. You're a white American.
Right.
And if you're conservative, they call you a white nationalist, just whatever.
Yeah, right.
So it's the bar for the internet. The bar for internet accusation is very low.
You can literally walk. You can actually walk over it without lifting your feet off the ground. That's how low it is.
It's very low bar.
True. Thanks, John. Man, that's very cool. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that game system. We might one of us may pick it up. Randy more likely than I.
Yeah, is where I'm not cheap is buying crap for gaming, which is kind of stupid because we only get to play so much. But whatever.
All right.
Shall we move into our big topic here for today?
Big topic number one.
Yeah, number one. We're going to do a twofer again. So this idea, again, was sparked by that Iron Rations episode a week or two ago with Joe the lawyer, his brother, Eric Tenkar. Did you get a chance to listen to that whole thing or not, Joe?
Which one?
That was the one where they were talking about
high-level play?
Oh, no, it wasn't high-level play, but it was mentioned. They were talking about 5e being good for DMs or not, but it got mentioned about high-level play. And you and I talked
where they got into the COVID discussion.
Yes, no, not particularly. I think you're thinking about the next one.
Okay,
that was with Mike and Bad Mike and Eric and that guy.
Courtney, I may have listened to both of them.
It doesn't. It's not matter. But something was mentioned about high-level play by one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked with Eric and Glenn a month or so back on Eric's podcast. And they both, mentioned they like lower level play. Eric's mentioned that multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I got to thinking, you and I both like high level play. I really do. I mean, I think things get really groovy about 10th or 11th, 12th level. Let's really get into it. 15th level, I don't care. 20th level, 27th level. But I thought, they made some good, there are some points to that. So high level play, tell me if you would agree with this, Joe. So our topic name, no, don't tell me if you agree with the topic name. Let me back up. Let me sum up. It's too much. So our topic is making high level play playable, and mostly in D&D.
Right.
But would you agree with this? Every version of D&D that I recall clearly, which would be first and beyond. I don't remember BX very well.
Right.
High level play. I don't want to call it borked, but you had to get the bull by the horns as a DM, or it would get out of hand quick.
Oh,
and I mean, starting about 10th, 12th level.
I have to agree because I was rarely behind the screens at high level as a DM. But there was
a player, you could see it.
The rocket tag thing that Tenkar called it. I get what he's talking about. Not merely just who goes first is best.
Right.
Because that's a lot true, but it's not all true. And I don't know if even mostly true, but it's very true.
High level 3-5 seemed a lot like that.
Yeah. But the other thing is, and this, my opinion about hit points may be evolving, changing, or maybe I'm just being, who knows,
a wuss bag.
Vacillating.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. I do.
There's something to be said that if high-level play means you fight things with hit points that scale up just like yours as players, you're really, it's not just having a lot of hit points that makes things kind of weird.
Makes it samey. 13th age samey.
Right. So.
Not a knock on 13th age, just how it plays.
I think that might be a problem. So maybe hit points don't need to. I've always kind of cringed when I've seen hit points, hit dice cap in earlier editions, but sometimes you're like, I don't know if they did this on purpose. I'm really sure they didn't. Stopping the hit dice at
9th,
9, 10, 11, depending on which
your wizard could be 11, yeah.
Was probably a good idea.
Oh my God, folks! Did everybody, all three of you who listen, did you hear that? Dude.
But
this man is slowly becoming my bestest friend. No, I'm just kidding, dude. Sometimes I think, Joe, you and I were like, what's the type of twins that don't look alike? There's two types of twins.
Fraternal.
What's that?
fraternal.
Yeah, and then we were split at birth because eventually you and I seem to come around asking the same question because I've been thinking the same thing. And I've been thinking, dang, I've got to get Joe on the lower hit point thing. I mean, even I think Professor DM, who talks a lot about his low hit point caps, sounds a little harsh, but it sure makes the game exciting. And too many hit points, I don't know. There's something to it, keeping it down a little lower. That was one of the things I talked about. You know, when it comes to issues, hit points is definitely one. The 300 hit point barbarian. Spellcasters, that's a ball of wax. As much as I agree with Tenkar that spellcasters, magic, jar, and these high level spells get crazy, that's one of your favorites you talked about as being problematic.
Well, it's mostly from my imagination. I haven't used it these ways,
Right.
but you can imagine the havoc you could wreak.
Especially if you're, I mean, not so much when you're out adventuring, but when you're at home, you talk about controlling a city. That 10th level mage, if that city does, I think in a fantasy world, if we're going to think of adventurers reaching that level at even a small pace, say the 2 or 3% pace, kings and stuff, and they used to say this in old school, they would always have advisors or the court. There's a reason you have a court mage paid to be there, because he's going to make sure that crap doesn't happen. Like,
Right.
Why is a 14th level wizard hanging around this king who's a 5th level fighter? Because he gets paid a boatload. He's allowed to do any research he wants. And hey, if he finds a wizard spy, guess who gets the spy's spell books and stuff? That wizard.
Right.
So there's a lot of advantages to being the king's advisor, even if you're a lot more powerful than him. But I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I think that can be a problem at high level. So you talk about the number of spells and being able to anticipate that. Prepping adventures is very tough. I mean, even when you think about, okay, so like I wrote in the notes, so we defeated the lords of the 9 hells. Looks like the abyss is next on the plate. Or we just kicked the crap out of the Norse pantheon. Where's that little irritating Greek pantheon? I mean, it can get a little like that when they do the hit points back in Deities and Demigods, right? You saw Thor with 250 hit points. You're like, I could take him.
Right. Right.
So,
especially if you get the drop on him and everybody gets to go before Thor.
Yeah,
Somehow.
no kidding. Yeah, so and just the hit point issue, the spellcasters, and as a GM, I hear GMs talk about the chore, and I felt it heavier in 3.x early on when I felt compelled to try to at least quasi follow the rules. And when I got to the Elysium game, you know, when I created my little matrix for easy, medium, and hard encounters, I said, Randy, just wing it, because you know this system well enough. You ain't gonna make the players don't know if dude's got plus 10 on his stealth check or plus 51. And you know what? It's not going to matter. It's a Baylor. Who cares? He's coming to lay down the smack, not to sneak around behind him.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So, but the point is, those are some of the issues. What other issues do you think high level, any other things you could think of besides DM prep, crazy hit points, but on both sides, monsters that have 4,000 hit points, and then spellcasters? What other things?
From a player's side, well, you named all the DM level stuff, but from the player's side, high level depends on. It's difficult depending on what edition of the game you're playing. If you're playing 3rd edition, it can be a chore as a player when you're thinking about advancement and all that and the myriad of choices.
Right. It's like, because people used to talk about you had to plan your character out from 1 to 20.
And the number of things you can do if you get to high level quickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I've been saying for a while, you really don't know your character.
Right.
You don't know really what it's capable of if you've gotten there quickly. And quick is kind of the watchword right now.
Yeah, and Tenkar talked about how when he was first playing AD&D, he thought his characters were basically leveling every session. Right. And and when you look at those experience point charts, if you follow the rules, it would take forever, literal years to get a year or two to get a double-digit character, and then several more years to get 14, 15, not talking about 20.
Depends on how generous you are with treasure.
Oh, if you gold piece, yeah, that would boost you right up early on. Not
treasure. All monetary treasure would give you experience points on a 1-to-1 basis for gold.
But I think you're right. Players would have and we've seen it where we leveled too fast, and you guys, I mean, it was my fault. I gave you levels too quickly. Not just D&D, Savage Worlds, other games where you're like, I don't know what my new powers are. I just had a power last week. Now I got a new one. Yeah, that's tough about gaining levels quickly. So the question is then, is there anything else you can think of from a player's perspective?
Well, to be honest, I think the issues with high level play, speed of combat, especially in 3rd edition and its variants, can be slow because of the number of things that you can do, the action economy and all that. And high level play is exacerbated. It's not a 1-for-1. It's not a samey thing. You have all the same things, all the same number of actions you can do, but
your options are
your options get exploded because of the number of powers you have on your character sheet you can do.
Now,
like,
so I have
this possible thing I can do right now.
Yeah.
And there's hemming and hawing about that people can do.
And people worry about being optimized every time my turn comes around. I want to do the most efficient thing I can.
Right.
I know I had an experience. I may have said it before. I know I've told you many years ago, early 3rd edition, we wanted to play high level characters. So we spent a couple hours rolling up 20th level dudes, and I gave them the permission to kind of have the +5 everything. Right. And so they're totally prepped, and because the adventure, I told them, we're going to fight the Terrask. That's what you're going to do. So I whipped up a little adventure while they were making characters. I mean, it took them a couple hours, so I had time to write the adventure, and we had the fight. We had the adventure, and it was a short fight in front of it, and then it was minions. Then he had a couple other minions, and by minions, these were worshippers of the Terrask. Long story short, they fight the Terrask. I kid you not, it was a 3-hour plus fight. It was unbelievable how long it was, and it was a mixture of high level, not knowing your characters as well, and tremendous amounts of hit points, and the crazy crap that spellcasters could do. Oh, this happened. No, it didn't. Look, I forgot I had this power going. Oh, yeah. We got +4 from this. Oh, that's right.
Time stop.
Yeah. So with those in mind, I still maintain high level is very playable. And I think to do that, one of the best ways to do this as a DM. Oh, I'd mention one other thing, and I think I mixed it with it, but not only is prepping adventures tough, and the frustration of how many times can you save the universe, the world, but it can get ridiculous, right? Like that whole thing about killing the Norse gods and then killing the Greek gods. That's just silly sounding, right? And I think some of the people that really like low level just look at high level and go, that's ridiculous. That is just the dumbest crap I've ever seen in my life. And they're fans of fantasy, but they don't want to see every character in the party flying and glowing in magic items, because they think that's just crazy stuff. I mean, I don't think that necessarily, but I think people think that.
Well, depends on what fantasy genre, what literary background your characters, the players have. Depends on what they've read. I've read a lot of fantasy novels, and they range, the players or the characters range from really you can do one or two things, or maybe totally mundane. They can't do anything magical, right, all the way up to superhero. Jim Butcher throwing down the smack, mixing it up with gods and godlings and
Dresden Files.
Other stuff. Dresden Files. There's all kinds.
That's high level.
High fantasy.
That is super high fantasy and high magic. Right. Yeah.
And they keep on saying that Dresden is, kind of weak.
Weak, dude.
In the book.
Wow, that means he's got more. Well, that brings up my next point. So, with that in mind, okay, thinking about that, and I agree with you. I think high level plays fine. It's interesting that some folks don't think that. Maybe we mentioned last week about how the DMG has different books now in 5th edition that they suggest in their version of Appendix N than was in their original D&D. So maybe some of the people like, Eric and Glenn over at Old Man Grognard, maybe they just read the different sort of books and want a different sort of feel, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I think high level play, to say it's not playable is wrong. I think it takes a commitment on both sides of the screen. I think, first of all, as a DM, you should plant those seeds early on. I think your campaign needs to have room for high level action. And part of that,
that's what you intend to do.
Yeah. If you like, that's what I'm saying, because we're talking about now. We're talking about playing high level. So
Right.
I'd like you and I to think about how to prepare a game. If you're going to allow high level play, you got to prepare your campaign for this. So one of the first things that you do is, I think, you have high level NPCs. I don't mean butt tons of them, but have the characters around 5th level meet a 19th level wizard and be like, holy crap, did you just time stop? Yeah, I had to talk to you guys for a minute. And you guys are like, and we're not helping. No, I decided not to keep you in there. In fact, holy crap, this dude's ridiculous. And he's just like, hey, I wanted you to do this little thing for me. Would you mind? I don't have a lot of time. Got to head back to Sigil. Where's that? I don't know. And I'll get back to you guys. But dude, grab this little thing for me, and I'll pay each 1,000 gold pieces. You're like, whoa, look at this dude. So it exists, right? So it's not a shock when your wizard reaches 17th, 18th level. They'd be like, oh, he's unbelievable. Oh, there's another one. There's another one that's more powerful than him. It doesn't have to be more powerful, but they can think, well, I've known of wizards like that. I think that's one of the big things, is really make that the case. And you got to decide about magic items. I don't think high level has to have 4 billion magic items. That's a
different kind of game too.
Yeah, and I think some people think that's what high level has to be, just covered in the Christmas tree effect. You don't. I think you make a decision, what you want, because I'll tell you that I think I've come to your side a little bit. I think I need to be a little more generous, because I think players like magic items, and so I need to give some out. They're fun, or give them magic items that grow and get more and more powers, where you may only have 3 items, but they might each do 5 or 6 things by the time you reach 19th level.
Right. And there's another part of this, that a game that a D&D game, not everything within the D&D game has to be the result of or fit within a logical paradigm.
No.
It can just be because you like it that way.
Give me an example. What do you mean?
Or having magic items, or having lots of magic items, or having no magic items. There doesn't have to be a logical in-game reason for having a tail that goes in front of the screen like that.
Right. That's my cat. My cat Pippin. She's kind of, well, most cats are, when they want petted, they get up in your grill.
So you can just make a decision to say magic items at this frequency within my game.
Yes.
Because that's how I like it.
Yeah. And I can, yeah.
And whether or not you have some sort of in-game repercussion for there being a bunch of +1 swords laying around, you can or can't.
Yeah. I think
you can have untied plot lines, or whatever you would call that. Every player that's ever existed in this world has had a +1 sword, and now they've found a +2 sword, and they toss their +1 sword away, or they sell it, or do whatever.
Right.
You don't have to have a repercussion for it.
And you don't have to. We've talked about the magic item economy. You can just say poop on that. This is how magic items are. And if you're like, well, my character wants to know why there's so many magic items, I'm going to go try to find this powerful wizard and ask him. And he'd be like, dude, they've been around since I've been alive. I don't know what to tell you.
It could be that a magic item unattended for X amount of time dissolves into some blue goo that gets reabsorbed into the world and reforms somewhere else as a different magic item for somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, there can be all kinds of weird things happening.
Yeah. I think to keep things under control in terms of the players not getting overwhelmed by their abilities, don't rush to what they used to call a Monty Hall type system, where you maybe gain levels too fast before you're ready, or you gain tons of magic items and gold too fast. Doesn't mean you got to be as stingy as me, but pick a pace that you're comfortable with and your group is comfortable with, which I feel like we're kind of doing with the Savage Worlds game. I gave you an advance last time because I felt that adventure was pretty solid, and I thought you guys kind of pushed yourself. But before, we took 3 or 4 sessions to get a level, then we took another couple to get a level, and it'll vary a little, but probably at least, 2 would be a real minimum, but probably 3 to 4 will be the average when you guys will get an advance in that game.
Right. And
so I think you got to keep that under control. And if you do that, award treasure judiciously, because you can always give more. It's a little harder to take away. And so my opinion is kind of to be, you can do
a rust
things.
monster or 2.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm kind of losing my old school feels. I used to love them little rust monsters. That's pretty cool. But I think unreasonably gained, the whole Monty Hall thing, I think if you don't do that, I think you can get to high level play at a place. tell me what you think of this, because to me this is an ideal high level character. You're a 20th level party, right? So I would love to see a fighter who has, I'm going to use D&D terminology, +3 plate mail, +1 or +2 shield. He's got a +3 sword or some sword with some really cool powers, like a +1 sharpness, maybe even a +3 sharpness, a really bad weapon of some sort. And then he has access to potions pretty easily, healing potions, and maybe a few others too. And he has one unique item, like maybe he has a ring that lets him go into ethereal form for 6 rounds a day, So that's a 20th level fighter. And
That's it.
that's, to me, as a baseline, that would be cool. Not overwhelmed with piles of stuff. And so Joe is grimacing. So you think that's a little weak sauce for a 20th level fighter?
I do.
Okay.
Now, are we
It's just
saying +3 is top of the line?
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking +1 to +5, because I still want him to have stuff to go after, even at 20th level.
All right. So if 20th level isn't the end of the line, then fine. But
Okay.
if 20th level is the end of the line, and you might have a few sessions out from getting, you don't get awarded. See, one of the weird things is you get awarded 20th level and the game's over.
Right. And so
that's weird.
Well, let me tell you, I personally think high level play, you play it for as long as you want. Now, those characters, this is where Tenkar brought this up too. I don't think you have to manage the player expectations. You get to 14th level, 15th level. If you're hanging around on Greyhawk, the planet, the world, you're not going to be needed very often.
Not really.
Your party of 5 15th level characters or 5 12 13th level characters, it ain't going to be every week or two that something happens that's worth your time. Even if you're good hearted and like, I would do this for free, you guys aren't going to waste your time. Okay, there's a local group of orcs, about 30 of them, that are giving this village trouble. Okay, my fighter will go out and say, look, dudes, straighten your crap out or I'm going to kill every one of you. But maybe you do that, but after a while you can't. And so, I think in that game, part of keeping the players able to handle their characters is to maybe, and you've said this before to me, put the game on pause. Okay, dude, we've been playing hard. You're all 12th level. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
A couple months later, you come back, got a sweet adventure, kind of a long arc in the campaign, take you 12 to 15. Okay, look, dudes, you are rulers or you're not. Maybe you're a freelance team. I don't think high level characters have to. Maybe none of you want to have nothing. Maybe the wizard likes his stronghold. He has a tower, maybe, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe they bought a cottage. Maybe they bought a mansion and protect it. And as a group, they all live together. They don't want to rule anybody. They don't want to tell people what to do.
I mean, they may have their tower. They might have a keep, but it's not a political entity.
Yeah, I'm not here to rule anybody, and ain't nobody tell me what to do.
Right.
It's all peace. Don't start nothing. Won't be nothing.
Right.
Because again, we like heroes. And so you take time out and then you come back and next thing you know, there is an abyssal threat. Some evil wizard is going to open up a gate, is going to release this evil Baylor and his 50,000 army of demons. And you got to stop that because you guys don't even want to fight 50,000 demons. And so you do that and you do a big story and everybody's 17th, 18th level. 8 years pass, 9 years pass. If you're still into playing them, keep playing them. But I think time has got to pass for the game to feel cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not every week in game time.
In game time. And it may not be every week in
actual time either. Right.
Correct.
Yeah. But you don't want the break to be so big that if the characters are somewhat complex, you don't want to forget what you can do.
Yeah, don't forget to have that ring of etherealness. I forgot that and I got killed. Oh,
right.
Suck.
Right.
Because that's nothing worse than that. That is pretty. Even I as a DM feel like, man, I wanted to kill you straight up. I didn't want you to die because you forgot you had a stupid magic item that would have saved your butt.
Right.
But yeah, I think I think another good idea, and this is what I was talking about there on that 0.5 is, players need to have expectations that the game is going to be open-ended. And to me, ideally right now, I would have no level cap in my game. I would say, we're going to play till you're tired of playing these characters. And then we're going to put them on the shelf in case you get excited again later.
Right.
And I think you need to tell players, once you get to 7th, 8th, 9th level, you need to have some kind of clarifying goals. That doesn't mean I'm going to save the world on this guy or I want to build a tower. You're like, dude, I'm a free flow love fighter bard, 9th level, 7th level. That's just how I do. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's a goal. That's defining who you are, how you are. I'm a paladin. I'm going to save the world. I'm destined to find this holy avenger and defeat Smaug.
Right.
So, I mean, I think players have to start building goals to make higher level fun. It can't be always Randy bringing up the next universal threat.
Oh, no. I would say that goes for a good table of players that they're feeding campaign ideas or just venture ideas. It doesn't have to be a whole overarching story or anything to the DM through their background. If they have some goals for the characters, that's all great, and that provides, and that's even outside the scope of this. That's just a good idea.
Oh, true, it is. How do you think you handle the hit point thing? I know you mentioned you kind of see the old AD&D rule of stopping at 9, 10, or 11. I guess for hit points, my thought is, I mean, I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I mean, if I'm gonna say, you know, I mentioned the 300 hit point barbarian, which you could get in Pathfinder for sure. If I backed it down and said, look, guys, 9th, 10th level hit dice are stopping. That also is restrictions on me, not just you. I may have to look at monsters and go, yeah, the Terras they're leading up to can't have 2,500 hit points.
Right.
He's got to have less because they got to be able to survive his 70 hit points a shot. Right.
Okay. So
yeah.
Let's put a governor on this.
Okay.
Because where this could lead is somewhere I don't want to go.
Oh, where's that?
So in first and second edition,
Danger, Will Robinson.
Well, first edition for sure, there were no level caps on spells.
Oh, right.
They brought that into second edition, I think.
I think you're right. 10 hit dice fireballs.
Right. And then in third edition, it was there was some kind of level cap on spells, but it could be expanded somehow. I don't know. I can't remember how it was done.
There were feats that could add, I don't know,
like chunks of 5 levels or something.
Fireballs get beyond 10 hit dice.
I think. Oh no, actually it was 10 hit dice as a 3rd level spell. If it was a 4th level spell or a 5th level spell,
12 or 15.
Yeah, it would go up from there. So you didn't have, but even as a 9th level spell, I think the cap was more like, well, it depends. And then it's severely limited magic missile down to being pretty useless.
Yeah. And I think there might be a way. Honestly, I don't have an issue with first edition magic missile. I mean, right. 11d4 plus 11. Yeah, it's really sweet, but it just makes the wizard be like, dude, I can punk you if I have to.
Right.
You know, you're an average, you're a guard, you're a town captain, you're a captain of the guard in Waterdeep. Dude, don't make me magic missile you to death with one spell. Because I will.
Yeah.
Because I will. And I think you got to lean into, I wrote this down, respect, expect, and encourage the use of your players, PCs, awesome abilities. And this connects to spellcasters. So Magic Jar, the Apparent Dangerous spell. I think it's a good rule of thumb, unless your world is brand new and magic is brand new. It's been around usually most worlds have histories that are at least hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands years old. If the PC comes up with a sweet way, I'm going to dominate Hamlet. I am 5th level. I got a scroll of Magic Jar and I'm ruling Hamlet. Okay, dude, you can do that. Something's going to happen though. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to come along, going to be a paladin, going to come by, this town's acting pretty weird. What's that little douche nozzle wizard running everything? Bless you.
Sorry.
That's all right. You all right? Joe must cleanse himself from all iniquity.
Sneezer.
Okay. Anyway, so the paladins want to tell me, like, people are acting pretty crazy. And I don't mean just some paladin. I mean like a 10th level paladin lords rolling into town being like, I'm seeing some trouble. Oh, I'm going to cast a spell on you. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I got the old school Holy Avenger. 50%. Oh, look, that don't work. I'm about to slap your wizard right down. You know?
Because you're dinging evil intent all over the place.
Exactly. And so you have to do that. And you have to, and so I'm leaning into it. He gets to get away with it for a while, but not forever. And also, dude, encourage that. Make it where this tyrant is so powerful. He's got these wizards on his side. Yeah, I got magic jar, but I can't get near him because they're like mage hounds and they detect me all the time. Players got to do some cool stuff. And don't be afraid to just like you said with magic items, the world's magical. You don't have to just have effects that are in the damn book.
Right. Well,
I tried a magic jar. I magic jar the king. No, you don't. He's immune to it. How? He's got a ring that makes him immune to it. Really? Yeah.
You could easily just say that king's crowns generally make them immune to mind control.
A magic rich world? You absolutely could. Sure. They are made. Mages make them for them. There's a council of mages that have done this for eons because they don't want leaders dominated, not even by themselves. Right. They're about free will.
Talk about a slippery slope.
Yeah, buddy. That's a dangerous group of people.
Now,
I'm going to do what's good for you.
Imagine shape changing into the king and then getting his crown.
Dude. Yeah. But see, to me as a DM, your players, when they do crafty crap like that.
Yeah.
Return the favor. You have all the power. I'm not saying screw them, but I mean, make them work for it.
Doppelgangers.
Dude. Yeah. Doppelgangers only have 2 hit dice. Not these dudes.
No.
They're 19th level assassins, Mr. 20th level fighters. Yeah. But you got to be careful. I don't want everything to be like, as a DM, you got to be careful because you don't want to like, once your wizard's 20th level and can cast time stop, now all of a sudden everybody he fights has counter time stop. That's poop.
It is.
Yeah.
The other thing that some of this stuff should be mitigated by is not every character is a paladin,
right?
But there should be like in our real world, taking advantage of somebody when they're asleep or under the influence of drugs, or if they are children, or if they are mentally retarded, is looked at very poorly, and in most, if not all cases, is a crime.
And in a quasi-medieval society, that would look, well, I don't know. Go ahead.
So mind control could be taboo against, so humans, mind controlling humans and making them do things, that's probably going to be taboo.
You could be labeled evil enchanter, whether you're evil or not. And everybody in the towns will be like, oh, sign up, put sign up. Yeah, dude, he's evil, dude. Run him out of town, or get the big adventures. And I think too, like in the game Aliens, which I'm going to run at Cabin Con, the RPG. Oh, God, I hope I get this right. I just read it last night. By the way, I'm really pumped about running that. I'm so going to do this. They have a mechanic where if someone is down, if you want to perform a coup de grace, I think you have to fail an empathy roll. If you don't, you gain a level of stress for doing it. Because the idea is, it takes a special person to kill somebody when they're down, to just straight up murder somebody that's down.
Right.
And sometimes I think we forget, because it's such a game, that in this world, to a certain extent, you should be simulating quasi-real people.
Right.
And when it comes to like killing somebody when they're down, that's cold-blooded.
Right.
Even for a neutral character, that's cold-blooded. They are no longer a threat.
Well, I know Jeff has been throwing around some philosophy as a character.
Yes, he has.
And this we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. Not being a paladin and not being uppity about it.
No, just saying that's not very honorable.
Right. And that kind of thing should be done. If your characters are supposed to be the good guys, you're not going to mind control the local mayor just for your on your whim. So that kind of thing, from the player's point of view, unless you're running as a DM, you're running an evil campaign.
I'm not inclined.
Then that's a whole can of worms that most DMs probably want to stay away from. But
I have a really hard time. I've tried high level play, and it ends in one of two ways: either the characters infight, or I get sick of what they're doing, and this is not fair to me. But I bring it totally. I just set them up where some really powerful good creature or good party catches what they're up to and comes in and kicks their teeth in.
Right.
because I just don't like it. I remember doing it one time. I don't think you were playing, and they were like 6th or 7th level, really good. And I tried early on, but they managed to dodge this well-known paladin who traveled. He was like 11th, 12th level. He traveled with the 13th level wizard. This was 2nd edition, and finally he caught them. And it wasn't. And really, I was probably cheesing it, but when I did, the wizard teleported them in, and they just kicked the crap out of the party because they were double their level.
Right.
They just beat them down like dogs, and they took them, threw them in prison. And I said, "You lose your characters. You're in prison for the rest of your life." I think I said they cut the thief's hands off. They gagged the wizard. They used magic to take spells out of his mind. I did all kinds of crap to him. You will stay in prison forever.
You know, there's some cool things from novels over the years that I think would be great addition, and I've seen them in other games to D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, there was this old, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correct, but it's the Dirony Chronicles.
Yeah,
right.
I heard of them. Mm-hmm.
And in that, there was a substance called Marasha that if a practitioner of magic even got the tiniest bit on them, in them, they couldn't cast magic.
Oh.
So if they could aerosolize it and they breathe it in, I don't know if that ever happened, but it probably would stop them. If they gave them a drink of water with it, if they hit them with a dagger or an arrow with it, magic is done.
Yeah.
For a time. So
it basically neutralizes them for a while.
Yeah. So it's right. And it's not like canceling magic in an area of effect. It's canceling your ability to cast magic.
You can't access the power to do it. That's a cool thing. But I would say in D&D, to be fair, when a player does something for the first time, I can say, "Oh, my bad guy can do it." But if I do something for the first time, players would be like, "Oh, really, Marasha? That's how that works, huh? Okay, we'll try to get some and we'll use it on your NPCs." And I'm not saying that's bad. In fact, I'm saying that's good play. You just better be ready for the ramifications. Any cool thing I do, I expect to get it myself.
Yeah, I believe within all these things have like poison, right?
Mm-hmm.
So poison is not looked on favorably.
Correct.
Or actually, it's that's changed. Used to be using poison was considered an evil act in earlier editions of D&D.
Yes, it was.
But now it's just a weapon.
In Pathfinder, 3rd edition, it became a weapon.
It's just a weapon.
And like I said, I don't care for the assassin class, but mainly because I never liked the assassin class at all. You probably remember I used to say anybody could be an assassin.
Right.
That's your job. That's what you do. But I mean, yeah, it's fine, I guess. I don't know, it's not my favorite thing. I'm not a huge fan of that assassin crap. But I think high level play can definitely be fun, and you just have to be. You got to be flexible as a DM, and I think you have to take it outside of the rules. I don't mean cheat, but I mean sometimes the player keeps doing, disintegrate everything under the sun, disintegrate. You got choices. Bring it back on them, or something that's immune to it, or something that can counter it. Marasha.
Right.
Now you do nothing. How you like that, disintegrate boy?
Depending on what version of the game, it's a ray.
Yep.
And if you have something that reflects rays,
yep,
or absorbs them or whatever,
yep,
that could be very disappointing for the wizard.
Yeah, but I'm kind of picking on the wizard because the spellcasters are often labeled as
they're the problematic ones at high level.
Now, prepping adventures, I think as a DM, you have to allow your DM some flexibility. You got to give him some, as you get a higher level, it takes, I don't know, I've run high level campaigns. I can think of ideas to challenge characters, but to me, the challenge is something everybody forgets about. The planes, man. Sigil in the multiverse. There's craziness, high level challenges all over the multiverse. I push Planescape. Anybody that has or can get access to those books, absolutely do it, because there is just tons and tons in those 2nd edition box sets of ideas for really high level play. And if you use the rules as written, traveling the planes is tough for casters.
Sure.
Wizards have to get keys for some spell effects. If you go to the plane of water, you can't do any fire spells at all without a special key to go along with your spell casting. If you're a cleric, you have to get some, I forgot what they're called, something like a spell key, or you'll lose levels.
Levels of spell. Yeah, because
levels,
they're so far removed from their the the source
gods.
of their god.
No.
Right.
Yeah, they could lose like 6 or 7 levels. So
Yeah.
you could be a 12th level cleric of Mount Celestia, and when you go to from your god's lawful good, and when you go to the abyss, oh look, you're 6th level. You cast as a 6th level caster. So that's a big screw job. So the players might spend an adventure trying to find some way to counter that off for a little while they go to the abyss to, kick Orcus's teeth in.
Yeah, and if you're going after a particularly wily villain,
yep,
you searching those things out, they might be able to figure out what you're doing, because that stuff is not. It's not like you go to the planar key store. Yeah, I'll take one. Put it on my credit card. And
there's actually shops in Sigil, the City of Doors, where some powerful merchants do have a few spell keys for sale. Some of the more common ones. But yeah, and if you're searching those out, though, I mean, if you're not paying the shopkeep to keep his mouth shut, I mean, at how level?
Not keeping his mouth shut.
Dude, and I say this, as a DM, make enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the players have lots of enemies so that they're not always just doing whatever they want and nobody knows about what they're up to. Yeah, they could kick the Baron's butt, but the Baron's not forgotten when they kicked his butt. He's not dead because Joe was honorable, the paladin, didn't kill him. He's like, I'm going to get that SOB and I'm going to wait 4 or 5 years till I really stick it to him good, and be kind of evil, especially if you don't have to be high level, but I think the planes add to that. I think DMs need to, I keep saying this, but kick the rule books to the side, because first of all, they're guidelines. If you fall, I remember when I ran at Gen Con, I played at Gen Con. I can't remember what was the name. Luden, the City of Adventure, and then there was Luden, this adventure had a different name for it. These people got together at Gen Con. They built a super cool cityscape, and we adventured there. Then the next year they had a long tabletop, it was like a battlefield, and we fought these things. We were like 7th or 8th level, and we were going to fight some black orcs. And I'm like, whatever, black orcs, which, by the way, I guess, no, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, black orcs. And so anyway, they're different color orcs and supposed to be tougher, like whatever. So my ranger rolls up there, whack, 30 damage. He takes it, turns around, hits me for 15. I'm like, what? 30 damage. He takes it, turns around, hits me for 20. And I'm like, this is a stinking orc. And he goes, yep. I said, what? And at the end, I'm like, how tough were they? Oh, they averaged 90 hit points. Dude. If you want to use an orc, give him 90 hit points. I mean, and he had a cool story why their skin had been turned dark, something about worshiping this evil god who made them more powerful. It was super cool. And I'm like, don't be afraid to oh man, this demon only has 102 hit points. Okay, that's not enough. Make it 302 hit points. Give it armor class -3, make it armor class -9. Let's roll. The DM doesn't have to play by the rules,
Especially when it's some of the
for challenges.
Some of the supposed to be high level challenges were not designed well.
No, like not dragons in first edition.
Yeah, they had really low hit points for what they were supposed to be, and especially like Tiamat had really 50 hit points. And
if you hit her for 50 hit points in part of her, she had a place in her body. I think her body could take 50 hit points of damage. And if she did, she was dead. And I'm like, and I tell you what, dude, I don't think you played in it. My cousin Rodney did. He was playing I tell you, this is when we stopped Monty Hall. He was an illusionist ninja. They went to the first level of hell, and he killed Tiamat with a grenade that he had got from another plane. And I was like, I'm done. This is stupid. And that's stupid.
The holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep it under control. And you got to, again, the challenge is when you do that as a DM. So when I say make your black orcs, make your, silver kobolds that are, super fast, like a quickling or whatever, you don't just do this just to screw the players. You do this to keep your world vibrant, and keep your players challenged. And at some point, I feel like in most worlds, I have a hard time picturing with D&D spells that exist as they are in whatever version of your game, that players can really eventually just stay on one world. That's why I push Planescape. I think 20th level characters are going to seek something more than what a standard prime world can usually offer.
A party of 20th level adventurers, especially in 3rd edition.
Yep.
Unless you create your world specifically against this
Right.
will lay waste to an entire planet.
Yeah, I remember even the epic
There's-
level handbook, they had the Axe City of Axis. That
Mhm.
was a planar city that was for high level play, where the guards were like 16th level fighters.
Right.
The soldiers, the regular policemen.
Right. And that sounds kind of EverQuesty, but
Sounds a little crazy. Yeah.
where city guards just kill you with one whack.
I mean, you could,
But,
but you could lay the seeds of a very powerful, magic-rich world where maybe there is a lot of stuff to do. Maybe it's super fantastical, like 13th Age, the Dragon Empire, where you have these creatures that are 3 times the size of Terras called Koru Behemoths walking this, the 700-mile loop around this Dragon Empire. So there's just crazy fantastical stuff. And so there's always a challenge for high-level characters.
Right. So that being said, what I just said, if you don't have if high level play like up to 20th, according to most D&D versions,
Sure.
if your world isn't geared for that, if your highest level adventuring party is going to be 9th or 10th, then you don't have to worry about it.
No.
But if you're thinking that you're going to allow high level play, then your world you'll have to have bits of it that will keep a double digit level party from being able to just roll in. I mean,
have a legit Smaug.
Right.
I mean, have a dragon with 2,000 hit
points. You could
points.
rely on players who play honorable PCs, and they're just not going to they're just going to mind their own business.
Mhm.
But if the possibility exists for high level entities, they're not all going to be honorable, and your game world has to be geared to deal with them. And you might have some history in there where at one point it wasn't, and then it got to be where it was, or got to be where a 20th level character or 3 couldn't just waltz around and own the whole planet.
Or even if they could, let's say you let the players, maybe the players are less than scrupulous. Maybe they're skirting on evil. They kill bad guys when they drop them. They play to win. Every fight's to win. And I mean like win permanently. They don't want anybody. So I've seen players, we don't want them coming back. We don't want to I'm not letting it. The guy's running away. Shoot them with your arrows. Shoot them as they run. Okay. That happens all the time.
Right.
Don't let them get back to the boss. Don't let them get away, which is pretty good tactically sound, but it skirts the hero question.
Right.
So now let them do that. Let them get 8th, 16th, 17th level, and maybe they dominate the world. Maybe your mage, Joe, he's kind of a son of a bitch, but he is the archmage of planet whatever. And everybody, all the wizards bow to him. Okay. And Josh's fighter, he's the baddest fighter in the land. He's the emperor so-and-so, okay, of the world. You've conquered the world, more or less, right? And maybe you have these outposts with each one of you guarding it, right? And even your rogue is like 26th level, be unbelievable tough guy, right? So you're dominating, right? And you're not totally evil. You're letting people, you sell and trade, allow for a little capitalism, you do your thing. And then, even though your mage is not evil, you have a bunch of sycophants, some 10th level, 11th level dude that you've had as your underling forever. He thinks you're awesome. He kisses your butt, but he's evil. And eventually goes, I think I'd like to be the Archmage. You know what I'm going to do? I can't beat Volsvar. He's 17th level Archmage of Doom. But if I release, all the gates that Volsvar shut down, what if I open one and summon the Prince of the Undead? Oh, how about down in this dungeon where he's kept this evil fighter in a temporal stasis for years? What if I free him? Oh, while Volsivar's napping, and I give him the passcode to Volsivar's laboratory, and he just waits for him. I mean, to me, if you put that kind of dominance, and if you're as characters, if you want to control, or if you want to be the ruler of the planet, and you're not terribly nice, not horribly evil, that will allow evil to flourish,
Right?
Undetected, because you're not all that about. You like being. You don't want things to get out of hand, but yeah, whatever. Some bandits are raiding. That's not my problem. Deal with it. And so that can be an interesting challenge. And I feel like as a DM, without going down the road of Super Paladin comes in and kicks your butt because you haven't been very nice, but just let their own greed and domination bite them in the butt. You know, eventually.
Right. So the adventure is one day Volsivar wakes up and he's dead.
Correct.
So what do you do?
Right. And
Yeah,
seriously,
that would be great.
and then, you know, I don't know, Greg or Phil says my cleric comes over, I cast a spell. I want to, you know, somebody hears about it, eventually gets back to the cleric. He words of recalls back to your tower, resurrects your butt.
And then
Right?
finds out he can't for some reason.
Oh yeah. And so Joe has a protege who's only a 15th level wizard, rolls in, let me help do this. He does an adventure, but you save Volsivar and you got to find out what happened. Volsivar, what you get Volsivar, you bring him back, he goes, dude, someone let Warduke out of the temporal stasis. That 19th level chaotic evil barbarian of doom, he's free again.
Right.
We got to get him.
And while everybody was away rescuing Volsivar's soul so he can be alive again, dude that didn't like him has maneuvered himself to almost take over.
Or he's got that gate just about ready to open.
Yeah.
And Orcus is like, I owe Volsivar from way back, just waiting, you know? And so you can do stuff like that and keep it challenging. But that's still kind of, to me, I think plainer stuff almost comes into the forefront. Though I'm sure you could do more things without having gates and stuff. And that temporal stasis on Warduke would be, that's pretty cool to keep it all on the same planet and do all sorts of.
Well, you could have the occasional kaiju type thing, like a Terrask or whatever.
Gozira.
That only the very powerful can hope to make it go back to sleep for a time.
Yeah,
if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, but you can't do that every week, dude.
No, but can't be. It can't be. Okay, the Terrask is awake again, and that's what we're doing again for the 10th time. So it has to be different stuff, and it can't be all. It can't even that can't always be saving the world. It might be some other thing where you travel to some far plane, or some deep recess in the planet, or something like that.
Or you know, if you do have good guys, maybe they got to broker a peace between two peoples. I mean, they don't have to, you know. Look, we can come in and kill both your armies. We're not about that. But you're causing a lot of stress in this land because you're always at war with each other. Can we figure something out? And maybe they go, we'll only ever have peace should the sword of Shannara ever be returned. Really? You look that up as a wizard and go, this is where it was last seen. We'll go get that for you. Put this on pause.
Right.
You know? So I think that's kind of stuff you got to think about. And I think it can be, adventures tend to be grand, if not epic in scope, but I think you have to understand that you got to be ready for it. And I think a lot of people just kind of give up because they think high level adventures can't work. Yeah, they really can actually. We have
of them.
Living proof. We have played very high level.
Lots of them.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that's about all I got to say about high level.
Yeah, I think
Everybody needs to play high level.
Still, I think there's folks. I mean, it's a matter of taste. So some folks don't like high level stuff. They like. Some people are really fond of having gimped characters.
Or they just like the action at that level. I mean, they like the idea.
Some people really like gimped characters.
Oh, true. Though I'm going to
truly gimped
feet so I can suck. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got folks who like gimped characters, folks who don't like high level. They just like characters to be more like regular people with a couple extra powers. Right. That's just how they like to play.
And that's completely fine.
That's just a play style.
Yeah, and I think it's completely cool. And I think it's okay to go gonzo too. If you want to play a world where the guards in this city are all 16th level fighters with Vorpals, hey man, do what you want.
And be careful.
And be careful. Do not break the law, or you shall not have a head. Oh.
Right. So let's see. Let's do a time check.
Yeah, how we doing?
Oh, we're good. We're only hour and a half in.
That's nothing for us.
That's nothing for us.
So I think we're gonna do a 2.5 segment.
Right. Class level versus point buy. We have some thoughts. Yeah.
So with and Jason mentioned this. He mentioned several different games that I want to kind of play off of in a minute. But and Patrick had mentioned how he's a little tired of level and class. And I have a premise that I don't think it's class level systems versus point buys. I think level is irrelevant in the sense that level is just a way to say my character is this powerful.
Right.
My character is at this skill level. And you can, and I think honestly, I think level is better than anything I've ever seen, because what are you going to say? Because if you say we're playing a 300, and I'm speaking out my butt here because I don't know GURPS about little to nothing, but I have heard this. I'm playing a 400 point GURPS character. I'm betting, because I've seen it in every other game from Savage Worlds to Shadowrun and other games where you have points to build things, or basic fantasy role play. I've not played it, but it sounds like it. You're going to have you could have a vast difference between the two 400 point characters.
Oh, I'm sure.
And a massive gap. Now, to be fair, third edition did that too. At the height of third edition in Pathfinder, you bring in 5 players with 6 level characters like we did in our Elysium game. They could be night and day in terms of powerful, 200% difference in power. And so I think a better thing, I think level is just a moniker, a label that I think is better for describing where characters are. It doesn't have to be anything other than that. I think where the difference is the class system is where I think there's systems that give you a package of benefits to start with. And then every time you gain points or gain a level, you get a new set already predefined abilities. Bam, here you go. Bam, here you go. And then point buys are more granular. You get to pick and move all the levers and flip things around. And I do think that granular systems can lead to player-to-player imbalance more easily than level or templated systems where you get chunks of packages. I think it can in general. I'm not saying the other can't, because 3.5 3.5 tried to marry that. They tried to let you be granular with skills and buy feats and get levels and get fighter abilities and get extra feats and do this, and then archetypes and Pathfinder.
Archetypes.
And
I
then
think the archetype was one of the main
straw that broke the camel's back.
Unbalancing mechanic.
It was clear, in my opinion, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. My point is, I think third edition tried to be everything, both a level and class system. And even though they didn't do points, they kind of did with skill points and feats and things, little cool things that you could pull all these levers. And next thing you know, you're a 4th level halfling with a plus 22 to your trip attack.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's I think a delineation is you're playing a class package system versus a granular point system. And I think that's the best to compare. I don't think level matters.
Yeah. In that paradigm, it's it's really class, not class and level, but
no.
A lot of class-based games are also level-based.
Sure.
But
Savage Worlds is too, though. Novice level.
Yeah.
Season. They call it rank, but it's novice.
It's a level.
Season, heroic.
It's the same
a level.
thing.
It's a level. Yeah.
You just don't have you don't have classes. It's open-ended.
And you have sub-levels. You have level 1 with 1 advancement, level 1 with 2 advancement, and then level 2 with 1 advancement, level 2 with 2 advancements, then level 3. That's how it is.
Right.
So
I don't again, this is a style argument as well, or a play style argument.
Yeah.
Level can class level can be a more precise way of defining what your character is capable of,
which helps the DM.
Right. So, but if you're not, here's kind of some weird. If we're not going to care all that much about challenge rating, if we're going to have a varying amount of difficulty, then how important is level precisely? But the thing is, if you don't have level, what you need to know to say either I'm only going to have really tough encounters, or I'm only going to have really easy encounters, or I'm going to have a spread. You still need to know the level to know how to make the comparison.
And I would maintain that I would love to do this one time. I would say I want you guys as a group of players to make some characters. Don't tell me the level. Don't tell me. Listen, and I'm gonna write the adventure. Now I will say this: don't make them above 10th level. Okay, don't make me have to get super creative, right? Don't, because I don't want to try to play high level. I don't even know what you are. But first to 10, I don't give a crap. Just make them, and I'm going to write an adventure. And so, with that in mind, I would probably make some really what I think are going to be. I would make encounters that would be moderately challenging for first level characters. I would make some that would be really challenging for second or third level characters, and then I make ones. I mean, I would just do something. Maybe I would guess low first, between first and fifth, and might have one encounter. I'm going to make a CR5, just to use CR, a 5th level challenging beast. And at their first level, they better frickin' run, because I'll kill them all. You know, and then you roll them with 9th level characters and you smoke everybody. I'm like, cool, you're the champions, you did it, you got the reward, everybody loves you. You want to keep playing? Let's keep playing. Now I know a little bit about what you can do. The next adventure is about to get different. I mean, that'd be kind of fun. I'd love to be surprised. Like, oh wow, I totally miss it. You know, I didn't, or you roll in your 2nd level characters and I'm making a bunch of 9th level encounters.
What if you roll 2d6 and say that's your level?
That'd be fun. Dude, we're leaning random, aren't we, Joe? Roll 2d6.
Or d10.
Oh, fun. Oh, you just gave me an idea for Cabin Con. Cool. All right. So
those have to be pre-gens.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way to, okay, at the outset, roll a d10. Okay, make a 10th level character. Okay, by the time I'm done with the character, we'll be done with the slot. So, right.
It would be fun if I could. I think with 13th age it'd be, well, I wouldn't play as well, but it'd be easier to do. I have a bunch of 13th age characters, and I could just say, what level did you roll? Pick from these 3. What level did you roll? Pick from these 5. What level did you roll? Pick from these 5.
Yeah, I don't know you'd want to do 1 to 10 though.
No.
You know, like 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. Roll D4. Yeah.
I wonder, is there a place out there? This is anybody that's listening. Can I get Swords and Wizardry or OD&D pre-generated characters? I'm going to search those out, because I'm going to run one of those.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because that would be fun, and just say, or randomly shuffle them up and say, pick one. Oh, I'm 2nd level. I'm 8th level. What? That would be wild. No, but I mean, that's just a side note.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I thought of that too, with our bitching about CR and stuff. And then I bring this, you know, DM needs to know what power level. I mean, he has to have a rough idea.
I think that this is me never running a system like this, because even Cypher system has ranks. So
yes,
it
tiers,
has levels and tiers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that these systems, either the power that you gain from your advancement, such as it is fairly flat, so you don't have to worry about it so much.
Right.
Or if it's not so flat, you have, an experienced DM can figure out what they do, and they just, I'm making an adventure. These are the challenges within it, or it's open-ended, kind of sandboxy, and you run into some things that are easy, some things that are hard, some things you got to run. No matter how many points you're built on, that will likely end up being the issue, especially if they do things on the fly, where once they get a handle on the characters' power level, they can make adjustments and stuff, or not.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate sandbox, people talk about it. Wouldn't it be a world that's living with an ecosystem and things are what they are? So when you go out wandering around the hex and you're encountering these different things, your third level, I hope you don't run into the Smaug. That'd suck.
Because it's either totally random, depending on the DM, or there are bits within the random tables that are set pieces that the DM has prepared, that they hope to inject, but they are only doing it randomly.
Yeah. I'm more inclined to have, if I was doing something like that, I would have set pieces that I wouldn't hope I would inject.
Right.
But if players went to a certain area, I would also think I prefer encounters that players could have some. I'd want players to have some ability to feel like, we probably can handle certain things, but they'd have to know that your first level, don't go to the hill giant steading. You're not going to the hill giant chieftains. If you are,
Right.
you better have a plan, because if that plan involves fighting, you're dog meat. And
Right.
I mean,
So at
round
first
one.
level, going to the hill giant steading means you're sneaking everywhere and you're hoping
Yep.
to never encounter a giant. And
Right.
if you do, you run and you run and you maybe find a hole you can get into.
You hope you get into the kitchen and encounter his orc slaves. That's what
Right.
you hope.
Right.
So yeah.
So yeah. Class/level versus point buy. The package of benefits versus granular advancement.
I think that's the better argument. Yeah.
And it's a play style issue, not a one is better than the other.
No, I think I personally like class and level, but because I honestly, with Savage Worlds, it feels a little weird how people pick these crazy array of abilities, but it's not, weird's not the right word. It's just less ideal for me. I think I like class level a little better.
It's easier to have a handle on the player's capabilities.
And it could be my experience with class level. If I'd played GURP since I was 13 years old, I probably would love point buy, so. Oh, well.
Yes, we have been imprinted by class level.
Ooh, along with D&D.
That's a throwback.
That is. I see it. It passed right over my head, but I nearly got it. Yes, we were definitely imprinted.
So how does this all play into Cabin Con, do you
think? Okay. Well, yeah, like Cabin Con, a couple of interesting questions. We played high level at Cabin Con.
Yes, we have.
We played a couple of now, if you're going to use old school people, and I don't want to lump them all together, but I know Eric Tenkar considers anything after 9th or 10th level is pretty high level. 12th level for sure is high level. I don't know if you remember at Houghton Lake, we played a game where I had your characters resurrect. You were resurrected to start the game. You were heroes from several ages back, and they had to resurrect you because there was nobody able to handle things of this power level. Things had happened, and the characters were resurrected. You did an adventure, and at the end, they were going to send you back because they thought it was wrong to do that. And they were 12th level characters. They were pretty boss. We played Pathfinder, which I know you remember this one. This was Pathfinder with mythic rules. I decided to let you guys make those 20th level characters with 10 mythic levels on top of them. And while it was fun, I did not know what was coming.
It was gonzo. It was very gonzo.
Joe pretty much did everything. I mean, his wizard was ridiculous, but so was your partners, man. Everybody in the group.
We all were. It was more a matter of being assertive. And I was obviously the most assertive at the table that particular day.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just when I play a powerful character, and I'm very assertive.
Well, you probably should be. What have you? A character at 20th level, 10 levels epic. What's he really afraid of?
Any class, and he was a wizard.
Yeah.
And 10th level archmage mythic thing, and as a physical being, nobody would want, no regular person, not non-mythic, want anything to do with him. I mean, as far as being his enemy.
Mythic overlaid super powerful abilities on characters, which you could get even at lower levels. But I told these 6 guys at Cabin Con, bring it, man. And I'm going to give you, how many million gold pieces did I give you to spend on gear? 2 million or something. I said, buy whatever you want. And I designed this adventure. What was it? Orcus had been captured and put in a stasis by Ayaz the Old.
Mm-hmm.
And he put him inside of, he killed the Tarask, and then he put Orcus inside of the Tarask to power the undead Tarask.
Yes.
And emanating from him for about a quarter mile to a mile radius was just everything that died within a mile radius raised as undead around this thing.
various
the-
types. They weren't
yeah.
all just like
No, there were
zombies.
there were multiple Draco Liches and stuff. It was
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
But you guys pretty much kicked. Now I screwed it up, but you kicked the thing's butt because I screwed it up. Even if I hadn't, you'd have still won at least in probably 2 or 3 rounds for sure. Because I could have negated some of your sweet moves. I mean, you had a fighter that could lay down 2,000 damage in a hit. And so, or in a round, I should say. But anyway, that was high level, no doubt. Do you remember any other high level games we played? Sixth level, or was it 5th level, 13th age we played last year?
Yeah. So
that's about
the
10.
13th age characters that are recurrent there are breaking into high level ground.
Just now, yeah.
But well, depends on what you mean.
As I'm saying, I'm trying to use Tenkar's definition of 11th level.
The end game of Elysium, with so many characters with lots of magic items for their level, we were 10th level. Probably with the amount of magic items we had, we were probably pushing 11, 12, maybe even 13 as far as the challenge rating we could handle.
Yeah, you guys could fight a group of 5 of the big guns could fight a CR-15, guaranteed.
Yeah, especially with some of the crazy Pathfinder stuff that came out toward the end of its life cycle. Like I had a fighter, and he gave that ability to be able to have magic sword abilities just happen.
Yep.
So that's very powerful.
Yeah, super powerful. You guys were really good. We were good. I had a warlock or a witch that was super tough too.
Right, but
so
we don't do a lot of high level there.
We don't.
Mainly because it's with the amount of time we have to play, especially 3rd edition or Pathfinder high level. You can't do it in 4 hours, really.
No, that Mythic game was a 4-hour game, and we had basically one real fight that we didn't hand wave. I started to do that. There was like a church full of 15th level fighter vampires and some mages, and Joe's epic wizard
we narrated that.
Yeah, because you guys completely would have annihilated them. There was no chance.
No.
And so but I think sometimes making those one-shot characters, high-level characters, in a lot of our one-shot games we play at Cabin Con is tedious for the DM to make. And when I assigned it to you guys, it was fine, but you guys didn't use a quarter of your abilities. You didn't use a 10th of your abilities. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jeff's monk could buff his armor class to like 83.
I think if you want to seriously do that sort of game, that specific one, Pathfinder with Mythic, a high level with Mythic in there, especially at the upper end, having multiple characters, I would say don't. I would say 2 or 3, maybe even just do solo stuff, because those guys are so powerful. That
like when you and Phil and I played, we had 2 characters and the DM. You DM'd once with 2. It was really fun. You guys were super boss. Me and Phil were awesome when you ran it. You and Phil were awesome when I ran it. And it was really good. 2 or 3 high-level characters can be a super fun game.
Right.
Yeah, and I also think it helps if you have campaign style, which is one of the reasons I backed off of my West Marches. I've been talking about it. I'm not going to do it at Cabin Con. I'm going to run some Dragon Empire 13th Age so we can have those 6-level guys really advanced, so we can have some high-level characters we're comfortable with. I mean, your guy Brock, so that's why I think I'm going to have 2 13th Age games, so I want everybody that plays them to be able to level up to 7 if they want to.
That's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, question for you. So I'm thinking about OD&D, Swords and Wizardry, and I want to run that at least for sure. I want you to play in it on Sunday because I want you to play. I'm running a game Sunday because I want Joe to play on Sunday, so we don't leave before 4 and get a game in. And the OD&D one really sounds interesting. I don't think I want to do it this time, but you think in the next Cabin Con after this one, would you be interested in going back and playing a straight up 3rd or 3-point X game? Or Pathfinder, I don't care what it is.
I would be interested in doing it as a research project.
Okay.
Where we play and then we tinker with it as we go to see what we can strip out or add. Not too much adding, but definitely stripping out superfluous things, or just say things we can abstract.
Okay. Yeah. So as an experiment for us in our
Tinker.
EverQuest for a cool game that we would create.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are most of the high level moments we have at CabinCon. I can't think of really anything else where you were playing. Did John ever run John A ever run some high level stuff? You played with him some. He runs a lot. Did you ever play high level characters with him? Or
Yeah, we did. We did.
Okay.
And it was very gonzo.
Cool. Yeah. He's got that down, dude.
Yep. I had what was that class that was a ranger rogue Pathfinder?
Scout?
No, it wasn't a scout. That was the earlier edition.
That was 3.5.
Yeah, but the Pathfinder, Slayer.
Hunter. Slayer.
Yeah. So I had a high level Slayer, and he was really really powerful.
Yeah, I remember that. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Did I tell you what? I'm jonesing for high level play.
Yeah.
I really am. That's cool. All right.
So yeah, and he got. I said it would be really cool to get. Oh, I can't remember the. Yeah, so it was an artifact, starting with the. So it was the.
Yeah.
Tarnhelm. The Tarnhelm.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I've seen that statted out.
The problem with it was, see, those kinds of items are great, especially if it's your only one or only of a few. But if you have like 24 magic items already, it's kind of just
right.
Whatever. But if it's the one, like getting like you have that and one or two other good magic items.
Might be like, you're a 7th level wizard. I've been screwing you like normal. You got braces of armor class 8. It's really sucking. And then I give you a staff of the Magi. You'd be like, oh man, life is looking good for a few levels. You'd be feeling like a pimp daddy.
Right.
There for a while. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I tell you something I thought about. Oh, I lost them. Had another comment I want to make on high level. I had a comment for high level play when you were talking there a second. I thought, another advantage of this is back to our earlier discussion. I wish I'd really thought about this, but another advantage to high level play, if you run a high level game, as a DM, those kid gloves you tend to wear on them low level characters, you don't want to kill them all the time. You could take that off. I can't put in 4 Malabranch devils. Yes, you can.
Try a dozen.
And you can have a Marilith wizard in the back directing them.
Right.
So you have them 14th level characters like that crap.
Right.
Things are about to get real.
Not.
And you heard Joe. He was giggling. He was literally loving when I said, "Oh yeah, imagine Bolsvar gets murdered and you can't save him." I mean, do it. Do the crappiest crap you can to those high level guys because they'll figure it out. And as a DM, don't write the solution. Just let them figure it out. They will.
Sure.
Dang, I love it. I want to play high level. Everybody roll up 19th level characters. Let's go. All right, man. Cool.
You say that today.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be like first level characters.
Maybe 13th. And then by the next day, just roll first level.
Yeah,
we'll get there eventually.
A 5-point build, so everybody can have 8s and 10s. That's it. That'll be good. And I'll give you magic items around 10th level. Don't worry.
Right. we are close to the 2-hour point.
Okay. Yeah.
So do we want to beat this game or do we want to punt?
You want to push it back? Because I really didn't look very closely at the game I picked. Do you want to look at it again? Do you think we need to? I'm talking 3-0. I'm talking 3-0 though, not 3-0.
Not 3-0.
Why don't you want to wait? Do you have your 3-0 books?
I think so.
Do you want to take a look and then do this next time?
Let's do that because 3rd edition 3-0. I haven't played. This is when I was living in DC.
99, 2000s when it came out.
Yeah.
20 years, brother. What the heck? Crazy talk.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's call it a night, man.
Will do. All right. So, and that's it for, you don't have anything else to say about anything else?
No, because CabinCon's close though. 2nd week in May.
May.
Can't wait.
we are planning on doing Biggest Geekus from Cabin Con at least once, if not multiple times.
Right. If not
So-
constantly. If not live, if not a live actual play. When Joe's playing Swords and Wizardry, see how he loves it.
Yeah, that'll be fine. First time I ever played the system. First time we've ever live cast anything.
Right.
In an actual play.
We'll do YouTube actual play, and it'll be horrible because our sound will suck.
Yeah. We absolutely don't have the equipment for it.
No, we do not.
All right. So if you'd like to support our show, please check out our website at biggestgeekuspodcast.com/support. We'd appreciate any contribution, and we thank you for your consideration. The biggest thing we'd like you to do is share. Tell your friends, tell your enemies.
Yes.
Tell your indifference.
Because the enemies of my friend might be my enemies too. But hey, I want them to listen.
You know what we could do to help people share the podcast without even opening their mouth?
Yes.
Would be to have a T-shirt with Biggest Geekus. But the first thing we need to do is have some neat, graphic icon for our
sounds like a job
branding.
Super Patrick.
Yeah.
We may have to pay him some money
All
to
we
make us
have
something
is
sweet.
all we have is a very the gray dye with our name on it.
I kind of like it though. To be honest with you, I kind of like it. But Patrick would he could doll us up. We'd be looking good. He'd have our sweet faces on that. No kidding.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this on an app that you would rather not listen on, and you want us to figure out your favorite app, because I've asked someone
mentally figure it out. Do it mentally.
Yes.
What is her favorite app? No, I know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. And after you've mentally figured it out, because you know what app you like,
right,
let us know by email or sending us a message through Anchor, and we will happily make it work for you.
I will happily make Joe work for you. Actually, I was thinking we would mentally, psychically read their mind, and I would know what app they want, and then I would give it to you. How's that sound?
That sounds
okay.
Great.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not sure what major one we're not on, but anyway, we also have some podcasts we like to give shout outs to. We've got the Red Dice Diaries with John Allen Large and his wife Hannah.
Red Dice.
Yes. Radio Grognard with Glenn Hallstrom.
Yeah.
Telemanicore, which is a different kind of podcast, but very, very interesting. I have caught up.
Yeah.
By the way,
I'm behind. I'm down one now. I didn't do 32, so I'm behind.
I don't know what to do with you now.
There's not much you can do, really.
I'm very ashamed to be your friend.
I know.
Tavern Chat is another one we like. We've been talking about, and
they talk about Eric all
Eric Tenkar.
Yeah, man, pick on him.
Nerds RPG Variety Cast with Jason, who sends us lots of messages.
Our call-in master, him and John, dude. They hook us up. Sweet. Listen to all of them. They're great.
They are very great. We like them.
Yeah.
Just because we like them, you should as well.
Absolutely. I think that's the rule.
We're the arbiter of what is a good podcast.
Huh. That's fascinating.
Yes.
Sounds like a political party, I know.
Yeah. All righty. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
It would no words of wisdom. I'm good. I'm tapped out.
Words of non-wisdom. We're good at that.
We are.
Well, with all that said, this is Joe.
And I'm Randy.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.
Truth.